Hello. How you doing, guys? Guys, it's very cold outside. Oh man, it is negative 10 degrees Celsius here. Oh, right now outside. Holy crap! So it is colder than a dead sheep's balls. I don't know if that makes any sense. Doesn't make sense. Doesn't matter. Point is it's cold outside. But when one is dedicated to walking every day, you gotta walk. Yeah. You always have to walk, guys. Hey, OZ, how you doing, brother? Actually, I should post this. Hold on. So I could not... Closest church to me is very far. I was not able to get to church this morning, but I'm going on my morning walk, so we'll try and make up for it. I hope everybody is doing well. I don't know where we're going to go today. Maybe just walk, show you guys around my in-laws area, and then see where it takes us. So, congrats. Thank you. 2,000 of you silly mofos want to listen to me rant and rave about random topics. That being said, what's been funny is the response the Latinizers have been having since Father Stephen DeYoung's rant yesterday. So Father Stephen DeYoung, for those of you that don't know, yesterday evening, you should make a live stream about Ukraine and Russia, etc. I might. It's just that topic is kind of boring now because it's been 3 years. Mofos mean mother effers. But it's like a nice way of saying it, like, yo, mofo. It's like gangsta speak, right? Hey, you mofo. I don't know. Guys, I'm a boomer. I don't know anything. I'm I'm a spiritual boomer. I have no idea about any of the internet lingo. I just hear it and I go, that sounds rad and trad and stuff like that. So, but yes, it is freezing outside today. But it's beautiful nonetheless. And you gotta appreciate that the sky is clear. The sun is out. Mofo sapien. So true, Nick Flip. So, anyways, we had a big stream yesterday, which was fun. We got to proselytize to some random Calvinist dork, as some of you were aware. That was interesting. Eventually he had to be blocked. Because he wasn't listening. He wasn't responding, he wasn't listening. I have a very simple rule. If you're going to argue with me in the comments or in the chat, and you're not going to hop into a VC or something like that, which I will offer if somebody comes in and talks, if I have the ability to offer it. But the thing is, these guys, these cats, these people are, oh my gosh, I'm so cold. These people are not willing to actually engage, typically. All right, I need to go. God bless you. So, but yeah, we had somebody come in the comments and he was debating a big game The thing is that when you don't, if all you do is spam verses at me, or you spam church father quotes at me, and you're not actually meaningfully responding to what I say with your own thoughts and with your own ability to express what those things mean, then I'm immediately going to discount you. So what does that mean? What does that mean? That means, for example, if you spam church father quotes at me and you can't explain to me how it follows from that to mean exactly what you think it means, I'm not going to take your position very seriously. And if you just say, it's just read it, bro, it's self-evident, bro, you immediately are an unserious thinker. Because it's in no way, shape, or form is it just self-evident. Did Jesus come to save all of us? Jesus came for the whole world. Jesus came for the whole world, that anybody who accepts him and follows his commands will have everlasting life. Hey, Clays, how you doing? So, whoever believes on him and does as he commands, you guys should see this crow. Alright. That's a beautiful crow. Beautiful bird. Beautiful bird. But when you are a Latinizer, they don't have the ability to, it doesn't comport to them because they don't actually follow what the church says. Ironically, I was looking into Calvinism, that sort of led me to Orthodoxy because some Calvitards invoke the church fathers. Looking into the church fathers led me to EO. So true. What did I mean by that, August? It means that I'm like a radical, like, I'm a monarchist. I'm the furthest right wing. I'm further right wing than like even a Nazi would be considered right wing on the political spectrum in terms of like actual policies. Like monarchists are like hyper right wing, and yet we never get noticed. They always notice the normies. That's what I mean. They only notice the normies. Oh, you know the normie that's like, I'm a small government conservative. And I'm like, dude, I'm a big government conservative. Like, I'm a radical big government conservative monarchist. Like, I believe the church and the state together, like the monarchy and the church together, should have total and complete control over society. And I never get called anything. I don't get called racist. I don't get called theocratic. I don't get called radical. I don't get called anything. They don't even notice us. It's very sad. Very sad. That's what I mean by that. Like, don't we deserve to be called Nazis too? Don't we deserve some hatred from the left? I mean, don't we deserve it, guys? Very sad. Very sad. It makes me sad. It makes me very sad. So, I'm black. Also, I'm super conservative. No, not offended by you, by the way. I like your stuff. With that said, what's the Orthodox view on race and racism? I'm also the most Uncle Tom black you'd meet. If you are, I actually have a video where I talk about race. I can't remember. It's like on race, the orthodoxy and race and stuff like that, and my views on it. So it's actually a pretty long video if you have the patience for it. It gives a complete and total, like, breakdown of my view on race and interracial marriage and all that nonsense. Yeah, but long story short, I don't have hatred to any group of people. I think that there's beauty in the differences of mankind. I think that it's fine for people to want to preserve their people. But I also think that it shouldn't come at the expense of the humanity of the other people, right? We have to understand that history is a complex thing, and it's not this like black and white, like my group versus your group kind of a thing. I also happen to be in a mixed marriage myself. I'm also technically mixed myself. My grandfather was Native American. Now, do I look Native American? No, but my grandfather was. He grew up on a res. So I'm married to a Korean woman myself. I have a mixed child. So I'm not really your traditional, like, wignat, right? I'm not like a wignat. That being said, I can sympathize with the people that think that, like, for example, white people there's like a double standard against white people in society, all that other stuff. So my views on race are very nuanced, and I can understand people's arguments from all sides because I think that history is nuanced and you're allowed to have nuanced positions. I think some people, and I also think the term black, I think the term white, and I think the term black, frankly, is a very, like, amorphous and unuseful term in the first place. Like, Asian is like actually one of the most useless terms in the world, precisely because it is precisely because Asian, like, what, Indians and Koreans are of the same category. They're not even close to the same. They're not even within the same, like, light year. You know what I mean? Like, they are so far removed from each other that it's embarrassing that people, like, actually try and, like, argue that they are the same. So I think that what a lot of the problems with race in the United States, race and discussions of race around the world, is primarily caused by people not defining their terms carefully and having this, like, very, very, like, amorphous way of discussing it. It's like the like for black for example, there is a massive difference between a Nigerian and an Ethiopian and a person from Uganda and a person from Sudan. Very very different. So, like, leagues different. So race, culture matter, but the church and faith matters the most. It transcends it. Yes, there's truth to that. No, ranting is just me, like, whining about whatever topic comes to mind. But it was glorious, guys. It was glorious. It was glorious to see the Latinizers just get punted out of that live stream. Dude, like, and by the way, that even though that was a Roman Catholic guy, that guy represents the average Latinizer. Like, you ask the average Latinizer if they agree with everything that guy said, they would agree. Father Stephen DeYoung's face when that guy called Alex a Pelagian was just one of, like, that 1,000-yard stare that, like, just like he was just, like, staring off into space, like completely flabbergasted. That completely flabbergasted that guy would even make such a ridiculous and retarded claim. Like, he was like, I cannot believe that this guy. And then he goes off on him and says, what bishop teaches that? Tell me, what bishop teaches that? Because I would love to ask him. It's like one of those things where it's like, Father Stephen has enough clout where he could email a bishop and get a response relatively quickly, or he could figure out how to get a hold of that bishop, and in all of about 5 seconds could verify if that bishop is actually teaching PSA or teaching Augustinian original sin, or teaching any of these other like niche, or unbaptized babies are damned to hell, like any of these issues, right? Father Stephen could find out in about 5 seconds if there's a bishop that does that. And let me give you a hint. There are no bishops that teach Calvinism. There are no bishops that teach what that Byzantine LARPer guy was teaching. I understand the argument behind same people get married, but I'd say that that only applies to certain groups with low numbers. Here's the thing. Here's the reality, guys. And I know this might be a little controversial to some people here. The problem, there is zero problem with people, there's zero problem with people mixing. Throughout all of human history, a small percentage of people always went around and mixed with others. Do you think that the Roman legions, when they were conquering countries that were of a completely different complexion and culture than them, gave two flying craps about whether or not, hey everyone, do you think the Roman legions gave two flying craps about the skin color of a pretty gal when they were going around, and then they would bring home wives? Like all these single young men, not all of them single, but all these young men going around as in the Roman legions conquering these places. Alexander the Great's armies, who were Greek, going to India. Do you think they really cared? Do you think they really cared about the skin color of these women or the culture of these women? They're like, dude, you're married to me now, and I'm bringing you back to Greece. Right? And they'd bring them back to Greece. Or sometimes the Roman legionnaire would just like squat. He would just squat. He would be part of the garrison at the newly conquered territories, and he'd just live there and then have a bunch of babies. Of course they didn't care. Of course they didn't care, guys. Guys, if they cared, we would not see the history that we see. Sorry for being crude. Yeah, you're not crude. I mean, there's a lot of truth to what you said there. So of course they didn't care. Now, yeah, but doing that in great numbers. Here's the thing. Brazil was a completely functional country not even 70 years ago, 80 years ago, when they still had a monarch. Was it 80 years ago? Maybe 100 years ago. 100 years ago, Brazil had relatively the same demographic makeup, and they were far more functional. So what changed? The difference is that certain groups of people thrive under different forms of government and different forms of democracy. Is a shit show. Democracy and allows for the worst human impulses to percolate into the worst types of people to percolate into society. No, Catholic monarchies are actually some of the worst, but they're better than what we have today. They're better than democracy. Even pagan monarchies are better than democracies. The problem with mixing en masse is that if your culture cannot withstand it, it's going to collapse in on itself. It will collapse on itself. And that's what we see happen time and time and time again amongst these groups of people. Hold on, guys. Got my glove back on. All right. Well, I mean, yeah, fair. I mean, that's fair. That's fair. But I can give you examples. Dutch traders that went to Indonesia, and we have tons of pictures of these Dutch traders and these young men that were like on these ships, and they would just like pick up an Indonesian baddie and be like, "You're mine now," and then they'd bring them back, or they would squat there and marry them. Right? That happened all the time. Now, that being said, that being said, the reason interracial marriage is not a big deal is because it doesn't happen that often. 90 to not, like, I'm not even saying 90, 95% plus of people marry within their own ethnocultural group. And that's true even for countries that are very mixed, like Brazil or America, etc., etc. Even countries that are that have a lot of propaganda, they don't even reach where near like more than like 15% of the population intermixing, and that's even that's a stretch. So here's the argument. You want to know what the problem is for white people? You want to know what the problem is for Asian people? You want to know what the problem is for any XYZ group of people that mix? The problem is that they're not having babies. You want to solve the demographic problem for white people? Then white people need to start having babies. And not just white people. Italians need to start having Italian babies. Spaniards need to start having Spanish babies. Germans need to start having German babies. That is the way that you solve this problem. Like everyone bitching about a couple people that end up getting married to like another race. Like, all you do is embarrass yourself because people are gonna be like, why do you care? Like, it's such a petty thing to get hung up on, when you should be getting hung up on the fact that none of your friends and family are having more than 1 or 2 children. Korea's birth rate is starting to increase again, but yes, Korea has a very low birth rate, very low. It's a very low birth rate. But again, they also don't have the same problem of mass migration to the same degree that the West does. So again, the problems with race in the West is nothing to do with interracial marriage. It has everything to do with mass migration and the fact that white people or white ethnic groups are refusing to have freaking babies. That's it. That is it. That is the problem. And so getting hung up on a tertiary issue like interracial marriage just makes you look silly. It makes you look retarded. Guys, oh my gosh. Guys, we're going to be good civilizational people. Look at that, guys. Small ways, we're improving civilization. Isn't the abortion rate in Russia quite high? It's actually fallen to normal. I hate saying normal, but it's fallen to be in line, if not lower, than most of Europe, actually. Bro, you thought I was going to take it home? We're good civilizational people here. We don't play none of those silly games. But Russia, since the fall of the Soviet Union, has seen like immense improvement. So, you know, it's a sad reality, but they're making progress. They're going in the right direction, whereas most of the West is not going in the right direction, or they're not even attempting to go in the right direction. So. Woo! Oh, no. Only when people throw them out. If someone's going to throw them in the garbage, I'm going to take them. But if it is something that belongs to society, then I'm going to. Believe it or not, I actually have a lot of hope for the UK, because here's the reality about like a lot of these like these like Pakistanis and these Indians and all these other groups and like Iraqis, Syrians, etc. None of them get along. none of them get along. They only get along insofar right now that they have what they consider a common enemy, and that is the native Brits. The moment the UK's economy collapses because these morons can't run a country. Like, none of these Muslims can run a country. They can't run a town. They can't run a village even, okay? So the moment their economy collapses and they can no longer offer welfare and they can no longer offer any of these benefits, and the native Brits stop paying into the system, the moment that happens, most of these people are going to F off. Most of them are going to leave back to their ancestral homelands, because the intertribal warfare will get so bad that they'll drive each other out. So long term, it's going to be a very painful, very, very painful process for the Brits and for Western Europe. But in the long term, I don't think most of these Muslims are going to stay very long. The African Muslims and Africans in general do not get along with Middle Eastern Muslims. And Middle Eastern Muslims do not get along with Pakistanis. And Pakistanis do not get along with XYZ other group of people. They just don't. So our GTFO plan is Georgia. I don't know where we're going, guys. I've never been in this area before. See, the one nice thing about walking in Korea is you could just take a different direction every day and see things that you haven't seen before. Go to areas you haven't been to before. Like, I didn't even know there was a walking trail here. I had no idea. No idea there was a walking trail here. Besides, another thing that we have to remember is that Islam is a failure of a religion, and it's a failure of a culture. They don't do well, and while yes, they do brutal things to the people there, I don't foresee a day where these people that are that inbred are going to be able to take over completely. I just think that the people of Europe are in for a really, really painful experience. And it's mostly in the cities. Remember, they're highly concentrated too. These people can't do well without public infrastructure. You don't think these people are going to F off to the countryside of France or the countryside of England and be able to sustain themselves? They can't even sustain themselves. They can barely sustain themselves in the cities. They barely can find enough food in the cities. They can barely make a living in the cities, anywhere of these places. So, anyways, those are some of my thoughts. So we're about to take a loop here. I don't know where we're at, but I hope you guys are all doing well. Yeah, so anyways, that's just another rant. I was just ranting. I'm not even close to the north, guys. Like, I'm a ways off. know what this guy's doing. Don't know what this guy's doing. Give you guys a little bit of a look-see here. Whatever topic you guys want me to rant about, that's what the rant's about. Can you see your breath? Yes, I can. Yes, I can. Loitering. The immigrants in Korea that people have to deal with are mostly Southeast Asians. They don't really have to deal with like a bunch of like migrants from a lot of the traditional places Europe has to deal with. Rant about Candace Owens being retarded. It's funny. Yeah, she is pretty retarded. But I mean, what do you expect from a woman? Like, let's be real. People hyped her up to be way smarter than she actually is. Like, she's always been a little bit dumb. Always. She just is, like, really good at, like, regurgitating normie opinions. But the moment she doesn't have somebody to help guide her, like, psycho energy, the moment she doesn't have, like, somebody to guide her psycho energy, she was completely off the rails. She actually was, like, far more tolerable to listen to when she was still at the Daily Wire and they had, like, a little bit of guardrails on her. Well, I'm not trying to be rude. I'm just saying, like, your average woman is not going to have the most, they're going to have a little bit of psycho energy. And Candace Owens has got that psycho energy. Like, I don't understand what, like, I don't get it. Why, like, I'm not trying to be rude, but, like, any woman that you talk to who's honest will tell you women can get that psycho energy going real quick. Roosevelt Hotel. So that Korean there, going from top to bottom, that is Ro, Ja, Bel, Bel, Hotel. It's phonetic. So each section is a, like, is a section of a word. Very easy to read. But no, Candace Owens' biggest problem is that she doesn't have the ability to discern when something is a ridiculous conspiracy theory and when something has legs. Like the whole Charlie Kirk is a time traveler thing. I mean, my goodness. This must be a popular area for some reason because there's 1, 2, 3 hotels. I don't know why, like, I've never heard of this area before, so I don't know why there would be a lot of hotels. So you don't think that Charlie Kirk was a time-traveling psychic X-Men? No. Listen, I don't know what's going on with Candace. All I know is that she's not all there in the head. Like, she's just not there. She's not there in the head. She's kind of a little... She's got that psycho energy. Like, my wife... Thank the Lord, my wife only has, like, super bad psycho energy, like, once a month. And anyone who's married knows this. Anybody who's married is like, Normal women have that psycho energy once a month, and they'll say something really stupid once in a while, but for the most part, they're tolerable. I think like Candace is just always like that. Could be, I don't know. It's the same thing with like Erica Kirk. Like Erica Kirk, like straight up like will say some stupid shit. Oh, Charlie, when he was around certain things, he just had that energy. It's like, bro, it's not about energy. Like, what are you talking about? She just like says things. Like sometimes women just say things, guys. They just say things, and I'm not trying to be mean. They're just like, they say things. They got that prot brain. There's a reason Protestantism is so popular with women. Because it's highly emotional. You can kind of like have your like burning in the bosom and get like good sweet feelings. We're gonna go through this area. This will be fun. No, she's not a psyop. Stop it. I don't know why everyone keeps on saying that. Makes zero sense. None of the evidence people have provided is actually meaningful. It's always like the most loose of connections. The most loose of connections. And stuff like that. Like people are like, oh, her father was a defense contractor. Yeah. So was I. It's a who can keep their arms raised the longest. So true. So true, guys. All right. Okay, so this is actually cool. I'll show you guys this. So this is called a police box. So in Korea, they have these miniature police stations that are basically just like containers. And that's typically where they'll shove like the drunk guys. That's kind of where they'll that's where they'll shove the drunk guys to that's where they'll shove the drunk guys to like sober up, or when there's like a minor domestic issue, things like that. Things that don't require to like throw people in jail over, but need maybe a little bit of a break. It's also where you can go and find a police officer easily for your neighborhood, and they have those all over Korea. All over the place in Korea. So they're really, really cool and useful. So I'm just going to show this and then we're going to get going. So this is your typical villa. Now these villas, like I was explaining before, these villas are probably, most of them are going to be 1 or 2 bedroom. So there'll be 1 or 2 bedroom, 1 bath. And you're looking at, so you're looking at like 450, any depending on the location, anywhere between $450 US a month and 800, depending on location. If you're in like Seoul, it's gonna be more expensive. But if you're in a city like this, which is about a city of like 1.2, 1.3 million, pretty small city here in Korea. If you're looking at a city like that, you're looking closer to 450. This camera is a old cheap phone, guys. Actually, I do need to get a new phone. Hopefully I can get a new phone so that you guys can get better quality, stuff like that. It's funny that you say that, Puffer. I literally just saw a black guy like just around the corner. You guys were seeing my ugly mug, but I just saw a black guy. There's not very many though, to be fair. There's very, very, very few. And they tend to be the ones that are very quiet and they mind their own business. So I can't be too like nitpicky about it. But overall, If I see a black person, I'm like kind of surprised here in Korea. In fact, I'm kind of surprised if I see a white person in certain areas. In the city in Seoul, it's more common. You'll see quite a few white people, but outside of Seoul, you just don't see them unless you're near a military installation. If you're near a military installation, you might see them, but it's definitely rare. Puffer's really jinxing Korea. So true. When you say villa, you don't mean a freestanding home on its own like in Spain. They're more like what we call condos, kind of, yeah. Except they're smaller. A condo would be so there's 4 different things they call them in Korea. There's villas. They're like 4 stories max. 4 stories max. And they're like micro apartments. Those are called villas. Micro apartments. The top level of a villa will typically be for it's larger. It'll be like a 3 or 4 bedroom with a balcony and all that stuff. But the bottom levels will be like 1 or 2 bedroom, 1 bath, and they're typically cheap, much cheaper. But very livable. They typically are in relatively decent shape as long as you're not getting one that's super old. And then there are these. Those are called, these are older apartments. So apartments are like anything about that height. And then they have what they call complexes or condo complexes. And the condo complexes are much taller. And they typically are 3 to 4 bedroom, 2 bath, with a living room and a kitchen and all the amenities that you could want. They'll include like underground parking. They'll include a simulation golf, a gym. Like most of those condos will have gyms. They'll have like convenience stores built into them, little grocery stores built into them, like everything that you could need. So all of them do, dude. Everything is within walking distance here in Korea. And typically you're going to have something like that right next to it too. That's a school. I think this one is a elementary school. Could be a middle school. Sometimes it's a dual. It's like an elementary school and a middle school, depending on the size of the city. But they're all everything's within walking distance here. Everything. I don't even have to walk more than 5 minutes from my home to get everything that I could possibly need to survive. So, and that's even true in most of the small towns in Korea. And we're talking like actual small towns. We're talking actual small towns. So they build very, very compact here, even in small towns. So if you're a farmer, typically your house will be in the center of the city or the small town that you live in. And then you will just commute over to your plot of land and you'll have like a mini home, I guess you could call it, like a tiny little it's like a mini home with maybe like a small grill. It's like a 1 bedroom and you might have a TV and you might have like a little like loft. But they're super micro. They're super small. And those are just meant to be like rest areas. Because in Korea, you don't have to pay taxes on a home if it's smaller than a certain size. So what the farmers do is they own a home in the center of the city where it's convenient to live. But they'll have a small little like micro like sleeping area on the land itself. Few know this, but Nicholai is in a K-pop band. So true. My blue ass eyes could get me into a K-pop band. They'd just like zoom in on my eyes and I'd just like smolder. And then they'd be like, "Oh, he's so handsome." I'm teasing. Just got out of catechesis. Nice. You know, people say privacy over convenience, but in Korea, it's a like, you have to really try, you have to really work hard to get 20 minutes outside of a city anywhere. You go any direction for 20 minutes and you're probably going to hit some sort of like compact living area. So typically the smallest you're going to get is like a little hamlet in the mountains. But at that point, like, you better own some land and you better have some way of earning an income, or you better own land. Nicholai is a 10 in Korea. No. I'm actually, I mean, Korean, I get compliments. For my looks in Korea, but I'm not like they're not like saying I'm like a model or anything like that. They just think that, you know, he's handsome. But Koreans have like a very, very specific, like, they have a very specific metrics that determine whether you're attractive. If you don't meet those metrics, you're not attractive. It doesn't matter how hard you try. This is why, and I'm just going to say this, I'm not trying to be offensive, but this is why black people are not considered very handsome or things like that in Korea, because they just don't meet those, like, they don't meet that, right? And they're certain, like, Indians will never, it doesn't matter, you could get the most like smoldering, beautiful male supermodel Indian in the world here in Korea, and he's just going to be like, he's not going to pick up babes. He just isn't, because it's just not how it works here. There are certain objective metrics that they have, and if you don't meet them, you don't meet them, right? White people, depending on where they're from, and not all white people, but a lot of white people have a lot of like the key features that they find desirable in Korea. So that's just what it is. They like pale skin, tall or long noses. They like our eye colors. They like blue. They like a lot of the times the way our faces are shaped. And that's just the truth. And that's not me trying to glaze anything. That's just me trying to say, like, Koreans have a very specific way in which they view attractiveness. It just is. Same in China. Their beauty standard for men is Tom Hiddleston, basically. It's weird. Yeah, like, Tom Hiddleston is kind of a weird-looking guy. Like, he's not, like, unattractive. He's just kind of a weird-looking guy from, like, a European standpoint. He's got exaggerated features. He's got very exaggerated features. But in Korea or China or other places like that, he would just, like, be just, like, stopping their tracks kind of a thing. So, I mean, that's just the reality. Woo! It's chilly, guys. It's super cold. So, people always do this too. And it's like, people think, oh, if you're just a white guy, the girls just throw themselves at you. That's not true either. Like people think that, like, oh, you have a certain look and they just lose all rationality. Like, Koreans still prefer Koreans. That's one thing that is hilarious to me, is that you get, like, these white women and you get, like, white guys that will move to Korea and think they don't have to put any effort at all. They don't have to put any effort at all into relationships. And, the girls will just throw themselves at them. It's just not the case. You still have to put effort, right? Like, that's, like, it's just a myth. There is no easy way to get a girl. You still got to put your efforts in. You have to work at it. You have to work at it. And so many people are not willing to put the work in relationships. That's half the reason why people are single, is not because, oh, women's standards and shit like that. It's oftentimes just because, like, dude, are you putting effort? Are you putting the effort in to improve yourself? You know what I mean? I don't want to be rude. I'm not saying any of you guys, by the way. I'm not saying that about any of you guys. I'm just saying, like, the average person is just, like, the average dude nowadays, they bitch and moan Oh, let me go on another rant. Here, I'll go on another rant. That's what we'll do. The average guy is bitching and moaning all the time about how they can't get girls. And half the time it's because they're not putting any effort in themselves. They just expect it to fall in their lap. Oh, but I go to church once a week, or but I'm really trying. It's like, and then you find out like the guy doesn't shower. It's like okay. Well, it's not about like okay, Randolph. To be fair, what I'm saying is that if you're a guy that doesn't have like, who isn't like a Chad by nature, you have to put a little bit of work into yourself, right? But also like, you also can't have stupid standards. You just like, it's like, know where you're at, know who you are, kind of a thing. That's all I'm saying. It's like, know what you got to work on and work on it, and don't just like bitch and moan all the time. Women, like, it just scares women off when you're whiny. It's like, oh, poor me. It's like, dude, just effort, patience, humility. Yes, good points. It's like, yes, shower every day. Yes, go work out. Go to the gym. Yes, learn how to communicate with people without being like a weird. Like, it's not like people say, oh, but I'm just a weird person. Bro, it's not that hard not to be weird. Let me put it this way. It is not that hard not to be like, hi, you want to see? Hey, girl that I just met. Do you like Yu-Gi-Oh? I like Yu-Gi-Oh. It's like, okay, dude. You're 30 or 25, 26, 27, 30 years old. Are you like, your average girl does not want to know about your Yu-Gi-Oh collection. Now, if you meet a girl at a Yu-Gi-Oh convention and she likes Yu-Gi-Oh too, then yes, you can be like, oh, do you like Yu-Gi-Oh? It's like, sure, okay then, fine. You went to a Yu-Gi-Oh convention and you found the one single girl at the whole Yu-Gi-Oh convention, and she just happened to like you. Okay, great. But that's not the average woman, okay? Okay, so does that make sense? Does that make sense, guys? Don't be like, just don't talk about your Yu-Gi-Oh collections, okay? You can save that for when you're married. Save it for when you're married. But my blue eyes white dragon. It's the special holographic. Don't you know that Pokemon cards have like increased in value exponentially compared to other common tradable things on the stock market? Pokemon cards have outperformed. Girls don't care, dude. They don't care. Like, your average woman does not care about that stuff. Listen, they want a guy that can just like passively listen and not be like completely psychotic. They really do. They're like, women are far simpler than you'd like to think. Just don't be weird. I just don't get it. Like, just don't be weird. It's not even that difficult. What else? Just like show passion about certain things. But they have to be things that you have to show like drive. You have to show drive. Women like to see a guy that is driven. Yes, I do want to just like we don't care about our retarded daily drama we have to weather. Oh, but Ashley's husband. Yeah, exactly, dude. Exactly. We don't care about that, but we just ignore it. Okay? Because men are much more it's much easier for us to just ignore silly stuff like that, okay? But for women, they don't have that kind of patience for our little hobbies. Now, if a woman really likes you and after a while you've broken down that initial, like, okay, the initial barrier's broken, we've gone on a couple dates and things like that, then you can start introducing her to your weird little hobbies, okay? Then you can start doing that. Because once a girl likes you, she begins to like the things that you like, just by proxy of being in relationship with you, because women are like that. Women are communal. So once you've broken down that barrier, then you can talk about your Yu-Gi-Oh cards. You want to see my special binder? My dad gave me my first Yu-Gi-Oh card when I was 10, and I have just been collecting them ever since. Like, yes, you can do that after she's already, like, head over heels with you and stuff like that. But until then, avoid it. Again, there are exceptions. There's always exceptions. But I'm just saying it's a general rule. If you're trying to, like, score babes, it's not a good idea, okay, guys? First seek the kingdom, then the rest arrive in time. Yes, but there's a caveat. God doesn't want you just to wait around. God expects us to actually pursue these things. Marriage is something we pursue. We do it prayerfully, and we do it with God's will, like God's will be done, but you should be pursuing it nonetheless. Remember, there are two paths in life. There are two paths. You should be pursuing monasticism, or you should be pursuing marriage. If you are not going to become a monastic and you're not married, you should be pursuing marriage. What does that mean? It should mean that you're at least keeping your eyes open. Keep your eyes open, and it may not happen for you, and that's fine. Some people, maybe they'll never get married. Maybe they'll just be great uncles, or maybe they'll just be great godfathers, or great spiritual fathers, or whatever else, right? That may be in the cards for you. But you can live alone. You can live alone. You see, people are confusing this. You can live alone, but it's not what you should be pursuing. Everybody should be pursuing the one or two things, right? God said it's like if you're not gonna get married, you should be looking into monasticism, or maybe becoming a priest or something of that nature. And if you're not pursuing those things, then you should be open. I'm not saying you have to, but open. You should be open to my in-laws are taking a walk. They just said hi to me. Then you should be looking for marriage. Not saying you're going to find it, but you should be looking for it. So, wonder where they're going. They go on walks now, I guess. It's cold though. Whew. Anyways, guys, I don't want to keep on belaboring that topic because it's boring to me. I'm married. I'm over it now. Even if I were to become single tomorrow and, like, my wife left me or something like that, I would still give the same advice that I'm giving now. So it's like, anyways, I'll show you guys. Nicholai, forgetting how bad the market is in the West. Listen, that's another thing. All right, last point on this topic. If you're having such a hard time finding a gal in the West, maybe expand your horizons and consider other places. Consider Eastern Europe. Consider Asia. Consider other places, and see if you are called to maybe serve the church in other places. Become a missionary. Go become a missionary. Craig Truglia talks about this often. They're always looking for missionaries and people that are willing to go to Cambodia to teach, to do English classes, to do all those kinds of things. Go get an English teaching job in Cambodia. You don't even need a college degree for Cambodia. Go get a job in Cambodia. Go serve the church there. Maybe you'll find a Cambodian baddie. I don't know. I'm just like, I'm not saying you have to. I'm just saying, like, people complain and they're like, I can't find, there's no good woman. Okay, fine. Let's assume that's true. Then are you pursuing any other options? It's like you're a single dude. Throughout all of human history, single dudes had the most ability, the easiest ability to uproot their lives and go find other places. You guys joining legions and traveling halfway across the world, you know, like we talked about at the beginning. So anyways, guys, I'm tired. I'm just saying, like, dude, our ancestors traveled halfway across. You had conquistadors that, like, traveled halfway across the world and just, like, took the Incan baddies and the Mayan baddies and the Aztecian baddies, and they were like, you're mine now. They just do that. I'm just teasing, guys. I'm just teasing. Anyways, I'm not trying to keep you guys, I'm not belaboring this too much. I'm teasing mostly, but don't rule it out is all I'm saying. Don't rule it out. Oh. All right, guys. It was a fun little walk, but it is freezing and I'm going. So, God bless.